Your body contains about 37 trillion cells. Every one of them has the ability to reproduce. Almost none of them do because they follow rules. Cancer begins the moment one cell stops following them. When that happens, something extraordinary can emerge. A lineage of your own cells, behaving like a parasite. And in rare cases, it can even spread between individuals, which raises a disturbing question. What if cancer could behave like a contagious organism? Multicellular life only works because cells cooperate. They divide when the organism needs growth. They stop when space runs out. They self-destruct if something goes wrong. They specialize. They sacrifice their own unlimited reproduction for the survival of the whole body. In other words, your body is not a single entity. It is a civilization of cells. And civilizations only survive if their members obey the contract. Cancer begins when that contract breaks. Every second, millions of cells in your body divide. And every division risks a mistake. DNA mutates constantly. Most mutations do nothing. Some damage the cell. But occasionally, a mutation does something different. It gives the cell an advantage, not an advantage for the organism, an advantage for the cell itself. Faster division, resistance to death, independence from signals. At that moment, the cell stops behaving like a cooperative member of the organism and starts behaving like something else. Something evolution recognizes immediately, a selfish replicator. To understand this shift, you need to understand the rules of multicellular life. Normal cells obey 5 core constraints. They divide only when signaled. They stop dividing when crowded. They repair DNA damage. They commit program death, apoptosis, when errors become too severe. And they specialize for the organism's needs. These rules were not designed. They evolved over hundreds of millions of years. They are the reason multicellular organisms can exist at all. Without them, every cell would behave like bacteria. Unlimited growth, unlimited competition, total collapse of the organism. So the body built layers of defense. DNA repair systems, immune surveillance, cell cycle checkpoints, self-destruction pathways. Each one exists to stop a cell from becoming selfish. But evolution has a loophole, mutation. Stop and think about this. Every cancer begins the same way. One cell discovers how to cheat the system. If a mutation disables the right safeguards, a cell gains something dangerous. Autonomy. It may ignore signals that say stop dividing. It may disable apoptosis. It may replicate faster than its neighbors. It may even manipulate nearby tissue to feed itself. At this point, something subtle but profound has happened. The cell is no longer working for the organism. It is working for itself. And from an evolutionary perspective, that changes everything. Cancer is not just uncontrolled growth. It is evolution happening inside the body. Every tumor begins as one mutated cell. But as it divides, mutations continue to accumulate. A single tumor can contain tens of billions of cells, and each one is another opportunity for evolution. Inside a large tumor, evolution can occur faster than it does in entire animal populations. Different versions of the cancer cell appear. Variants compete. Some grow faster. Some evade the immune system. Some survive oxygen shortages. Some resist chemotherapy. Natural selection begins operating inside the tumor. The most aggressive lineages dominate. In this environment, the organism is no longer the unit of evolution. The tumor is. Inside a single tumor, thousands of genetic variants can exist. It is less like a lump of tissue, and more like an ecosystem. The most dangerous parasite may be the one your own body creates. Many researchers now describe cancer using an unsettling framework. A parasitic lineage, not an external parasite, but one derived from the organism itself. Consider the parallels. Parasites consume host resources. Cancer does the same. Parasites manipulate host biology. Cancer rewires metabolism, blood supply, and immune responses. Parasites evade detection. Cancer evolves mechanisms to hide from immune cells. And it does something even more remarkable. It hijacks the body's logistics network. Tumors release signals that force new blood vessels to grow toward them. In effect, the cancer captures the organism's supply lines and builds its own delivery system inside the body. The tumor is not just growing, it is reorganizing the body around itself. Tumors even recruit surrounding cells to build support structures. Blood vessels, stromal cells, immune cells reprogram to assist growth. What looks like a tumor under a microscope is actually a biological colony, a growing population of cells whose evolutionary interests now oppose the organism that created them. Now consider the next question. If cancer behaves like a parasite, could it actually become transmissible? Could cancer spread between individuals the way infections do? At first glance, the answer seems obvious. No. Your immune system is extremely good at detecting foreign cells. If someone else's cells enter your body, they are usually destroyed immediately. But nature has produced several disturbing exceptions. One of the most famous occurs in the Tasmanian devil. A disease called devil facial tumor disease spreads when animals bite each other. But the infection is not a virus. It is the cancer cells themselves. The tumor moves directly between individuals. Because Tasmanian devils have extremely low genetic diversity, their immune systems often fail to recognize the foreign cells. The result is catastrophic. Entire populations have collapsed. In some regions, more than 80% of devils disappeared. Another case appears in dogs. Canine transmissible venereal tumor, or CTVT. This cancer spreads during mating. What makes it remarkable is its age. Genetic analysis suggests the original cancer cell appeared thousands of years ago. Every tumor today is descended from that single ancestral cell. The host animals have come and gone, but the cancer lineage persists, which means something extraordinary happened. A cancer cell lineage became a long-lived biological entity, independent of its original host. Marine life shows another example. Certain clams develop leukemia-like cancers that release malignant cells directly into seawater. Those cells drift through the ocean and infect other clams. The cancer becomes, effectively, a contagious organism. The host animals have come and gone, but the cancer lineage persists. Stop. Think about what this implies. A mutation inside one organism can, in rare cases, create a lineage that outlives the organism itself. In other words, a cancer cell lineage can become older than the species it infects. Humans are protected by something powerful: genetic diversity and a highly aggressive immune system. Your immune cells constantly scan the body for molecular identity tags, small proteins on the surface of cells. Biologists call them MHC molecules. They function like cellular ID cards. In other words, every cell in your body carries proof that it belongs. If foreign human cells enter the body, their identity markers don't match, and the immune system usually destroys them immediately. However, biology rarely deals in absolutes. There are rare edge cases. Cancer transmission has occurred through organ transplants, when donor tumors were unknowingly transferred. In extremely rare circumstances, maternal cancer cells have crossed the placenta and established tumors in the fetus. There have even been isolated cases of accidental surgical transmission. These events are extraordinarily uncommon, but they demonstrate an important point. Biologically, transmission is not impossible. It is simply blocked by immune defenses. From a deep evolutionary viewpoint, cancer may be unavoidable. There is another reason cancer appears so frequently later in life. Evolution operates through reproduction. Natural selection strongly protects traits that help organisms survive long enough to pass on their genes. But after reproduction, the pressure of natural selection weakens. Biologists sometimes call this the selection shadow. In simple terms, evolution is optimized to keep you alive long enough to reproduce, not necessarily to keep you alive forever. Cancer is what happens when evolution stops caring about you. Multicellular life required billions of cells to cooperate. Each cell surrendered its evolutionary independence. But evolution never completely erased the possibility of defection. Mutation constantly tests the boundaries. Most of the time, cellular policing systems succeed, but occasionally a lineage escapes control. When that happens, evolution restarts inside the organism. Not at the level of species, at the level of cells. This creates a strange perspective on cancer. It is not purely an external disease. It is a breakdown in cooperation. The same evolutionary forces that built complex organisms are still operating inside them. When the system works, trillions of cells behave as one organism. When it fails, a new evolutionary player emerges. Not a new species, but something disturbingly close. A lineage of your own cells, now evolving against you. Inside your body right now, trillions of cells cooperate. They obey signals. They sacrifice reproduction. They maintain the fragile order that makes complex life possible. But evolution never completely stops. Every day, mutations appear. Most are erased. But if one cell escapes control, a new evolutionary experiment begins. Not outside the body, inside it, inside you. Because the cells that create cancer are not foreign. They are the same cells that built you. The same cells that grew your brain, your heart, your lungs. Cancer is not something completely separate from you. In a strange way, it is you, just no longer working for the whole. A rebellion of your own cells. Because cancer is what happens when evolution stops caring about you.